Hare Krishna, I am very happy to welcome all of you and I thank you all for joining this course on the scientific art of phonetics and meters in Sanskrit poetry. So, the title is given as scientific art because there is science also involved and it is artistic skill also. So, both things are there. So, we'll go through this course and try to learn the right pronunciation of Sanskrit verses and some of the common meters which are used in the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma Samhita, Ishopanishad, and many other poetries of our acharyas, previous acharyas, and Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures. So, I request all of you that this is not a very long course, this is very short. It will be some 8 to 10 hours, hopefully. And I request that everyone go through it properly, systematically, then you will be able to learn the right pronunciations. It is called as śikṣā. It is a śikṣā shastra. So, śikṣā and the meter is called as chhanda shastra or chandas. So, this śikṣā and chhanda are one of the or two of the six Vedangas. We will see it ahead. So, this first session today, we will discuss about some introduction and theory, which is also very important. So, don't skip it just because it is not practical or directly diving into the core knowledge of these fields. But please go through this the first part which we are going to discuss now. This is also very important because unless we know the importance of the subject matter and emphasis on it given by our acharyas and the benefits of these sciences, we will not take them seriously. So please go through it very seriously and don't skip any part, so the whole course will be uh, of actual proper benefit for you if you go through it systematically, slowly, with proper understanding. And these videos are there available in case you want to go through it again. You can go through it again also, and if you have some questions you can type it in the comments. We would be happy to assist you and answer your questions or queries. So these are the contents of this course which I have designed. So the first two parts, that is what we are going to discuss in this first part. The first two aspects, that is Srila Prabhupada on Sanskrit pronunciation. What does our founder Acharya say about learning these things and pronouncing the Sanskrit verses properly? Second thing is importance of proper pronunciation. We'll see how these phonetics or the right pronunciation of alphabets is so vital, and it is a separate field of science itself, one of the six Vedangas, and proper pronunciation, the importance of it. So all those things we'll be discussing in short, uh, as much it is required for our learning. And in further sessions we'll be discussing the further topics, which is few basic examples of confusions in pronunciation due to many reasons. We'll be discussing in detail later. Then the basics of Shiksha Shastra. We'll cover this third and fourth in the next video. And then further we'll learn the chandas, the meters, the metrical poetry science in Sanskrit language. And we are going to recite more than 70-80 shlokas during this entire course and understand, analyze those verses, pronounce them rightly, understand the meters in which those verses are composed, and maybe almost 100 verses we'll be reciting, and more than 20 meters we'll be seeing the science behind those meters. Actually, there are hundreds of meters, but for the sake of understanding and understanding the science and learning the basic verses from so many scriptures, these many meters or chandas are sufficient to start with, because this is the first course most of you might be taking. So we don't want to make it overwhelming for some of them. So those who are interested in further learnings, we are always available. We can conduct more courses also for all of you, and then we can have some time for question answers also if you have during the session, or you can type in the comment section also. We would be very happy to answer your doubts, answer your questions. So first and foremost to understand is this is a very basic course. We are not going to go into too many technicalities, but still, even these basic things could also be overwhelming for some of you. Not everyone has the same type of intelligence, but even if you are finding it overwhelming, if you pay proper attention and you are patient and you are determined to learn, you will learn it very easily. It's not rocket science. It can be learnt if you are attentive and if you are ready to put some effort to learn this. If you are ready to put, you will learn. At max you may have to go through a particular video twice, but after that you will learn it very easily. Don't worry about the difficulty level. We are keeping it very easy, and easy doesn't mean it's something which you can just skip. Many of the devotees don't know these things, so please pay attention. And those who are interested for advanced things, we can always have those courses later, but first one should be very clear with this, what we are going to learn in this 8-10 hours of basic course of shiksha and chhanda. Shiksha means the science of phonetics, pronunciation, and chhanda means the science of meter, the binding principle of a Sanskrit verse, that is called as meter. So the course approach is like this, as we have written here. So the concepts are basic. Some parts may feel a bit technical for some of you, but please bear with it. We will explore foundational ideas, going a little deeper, but using simple and relatable terms. We will clear the concepts, but we will avoid using the typical Sanskrit Vyakaran jargons or Sanskrit difficult jargons or Sanskrit definitions and shlokas explaining the science which we are learning. So I have kept it simple. We are not going into analyzing those Sanskrit definitions given in the scriptures. Like for meters, we will be using, like I have referred, we will discuss about it in detail later. This book, which is in Sanskrit, Chando Manjari, by a great uh, Chanda Shastrakar, Srimad Gangadas. So, and of course, our acharyas in Gaudiya Parampara also have contributed, like Baladev Vidyabhushan has also contributed. We'll see that in the Chanda part, the meter part. So, these books are in pure Sanskrit, and the definitions given are in pure Sanskrit, but we will clear the concepts without making it complicated, using simple and relatable terms, very easy terms, so that everyone understands the things properly. And another interesting way to look at this course is, it's like uh, devotees learn mridanga, right, to play in the kirtan. So there are two ways of learning mridanga. One is the traditional way of learning the bowls, tere kheta, or khinedda, gedda, gedda, dhai. Like there are different ways of first reciting the mantras of the mridanga and then playing accordingly. So tere kheta jaha and all those mantras, tihais and everything. That is a traditional way. It takes long time and lot of practice to go through it. And another way of learning mridanga is the 1-2 in out, the simplest way of learning. This most of us have learned this in the initially. We just on the smaller side you play 1-2 1-2, and the bigger side you play out and in, and we make our own what do you call it? Our own mantras out 2 1 2 in 1 out out. So that is, you make the beat or you match the kirtan properly. It sounds also good, but that's not the exact way of learning mridanga. You can't go far ahead with that style of learning. You have to go to the traditional, but it's not possible for everyone. First reason is, not everyone is sufficiently skillful in that particular field, and second is, not everyone has that much time, energy, patience due to other engagements, right? Same applies here. Our course is like 1-2 in 1 out and all those simple ways of learning, but you can still match it. And so we'll learn in a simple way these two sciences of pronunciation and meters without making it too complicated. So I hope that it will be appealing, relatable, and useful for most of you who are joining. So let us start with this prayer. that it becomes useful for everyone involved. So start with short prayer. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. So we are not singing long prayer here to keep the video short and concise. So here also in this slide also you will see down there is the meter written Anuṣṭubh, because there are 8 aksharas or 8 syllables in each of the lines, each of the padas. So we'll learn this different meters ahead when we'll go to the meter section. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 padas, right? And there are 8 in each of them, 8 syllables, right? And here actually it is written in 4 lines, but because of the space I have written like it is like this, there are 8 here, there are 8 here, there are 8 here, and there are 8 here. So we are praying to we are analyzing the verse also, but in a prayerful mood we pray to the spiritual master and the founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada and the disciplic succession, that we learn all these things in the right spirit and apply them to enhance our bhakti to the Supreme Lord, right? And the next prayer is to the Supreme Lord Narayan and Narayan Rishi and Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. So let us offer prayer. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet. So there are some some funny mistakes which are committed by many devotees I have observed while chanting this verse particularly, and we are going to see some mistakes in the next session. So let us not start with the mistakes. Let us start with what Srila Prabhupada wants from us, what he wants, how we should pronounce nicely, properly, with proper scientific rules and without making mistakes. So let us start with this. But in the second session, second video, we will be discussing about some mistakes, because if we assume that we are doing everything very nicely, perfectly, why do we need to learn anything? So we will discuss some common mistakes in pronunciation due to confusion, due to inattention, due to wrong practices. And these verses will be like our day-to-day verses which we sing every day. Okay. So now the first thing, most important thing is what does Srila Prabhupada say about this Sanskrit pronunciation? Does he want us that we learn it and pronounce Sanskrit verses properly in meters with proper pronunciation? So we'll see 4 quotes of Srila Prabhupada. There are many more, and we will try to learn. And Prabhupada would also correct many times devotees. There are so many recordings and the transcriptions of Bhagavatam and other classes of Srila Prabhupada, wherein Prabhupada is stopping the devotees in the beginning of the class. He's stopping the devotees and making them recite properly and correcting them. So he surely wanted, and we can see that in some of these quotes, some of these lectures, and other 3 are letters of Srila Prabhupada written to his disciples and some well-wishers. So let us read this one by one. The first one is the lecture by Srila Prabhupada on June 12th, 1968 in Montreal, Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 6th chapter, 1st verse. So a devotee lady, she is asking question. Even if you don't pronounce the Sanskrit prayers that are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, if you don't pronounce them properly, or Srila Prabhupada breaks her. Why not? You can pronounce them properly. Everything you can learn. Just like I am speaking in English. English is not my mother language, but I have tried to learn it and I am doing my business. That's all. Similarly, you can learn any language. You can learn Sanskrit. You can pronounce very nicely. It requires learning. That's all. Srila Prabhupada is encouraging that lady devotee that you need learning. You should learn it, and you can learn any language. It's not impossible. People learn so many languages for going abroad and going to different places and earning money. They make so much effort in learning so many other sciences, education, first 10 years in the school, then higher secondary, 11th, 12th, and then they go for some degree, postgraduate, and then doctorate, for faring well in the society, for earning a good livelihood. Then for taking care of body and mind, we take so much effort. Then understanding the legacy of scriptures and the uh, the teachings of our Guru Parampara. uh, shouldn't we learn the language in which these things are written, right? If we learn at least right pronunciation, memorization, and the basic meanings of the verses. I agree that everyone may not be having interest and time and capacity to learn the details of grammar and going into all the technicalities. But at least Srila Prabhupada has emphasized that right pronunciation. And for pronunciation, we need this śikṣā and chhanda very much. Let us see the next quote by Srila Prabhupada. This is a letter. Srila Prabhupada is writing in this letter. Yes, there was some question asked by this devotee, and he's replying with his answer. Yes, Sanskrit is spoken not only on Krishna Loka but also in higher planets of the demigods. It is called the language of God and the demigods, the Devatas. It was spoken also on this planet when people were all godly. They used to speak in Sanskrit. Sanskrit is the origin of all languages of the civilized people. It is most perfect, not only descriptive. The word Sanskrit means the most perfect. Samskrita. Sam means samyaka. Samyak krita. The language is designed very nicely. It is perfect. Or Prabhupada is saying it is most perfect. Because not a single word you can pronounce without having a bona fide principle. This is śikṣā, which we are going to learn in the next video. So, very important. There are principles of right pronunciation. It's not random, and Prabhupada makes some fun of English pronunciations here. It is not like the English language, B-U-T, but P-U-T, put. You write both things in the same way, but you pronounce them differently. You don't pronounce what you write. There are so many silents, right? T-H-O-U-G-H-T, thought. Hmm? Thoghat. We don't say thoghat. T-H-O-U-G-H is also there, but these are silent, right? So there are many. They also have some principles, but in general, it's not like samyak kritam. It's not designed so well like Sanskrit is designed. So with irrational difference in pronunciation, that's what Srila Prabhupada is pointing out. There are irrational differences in pronunciation. You don't pronounce exactly what you are writing. No principles. Sanskrit isn't like that. Therefore, it is perfect. It isn't whimsical. English poetry has one line 1 inch long, next line 600 inches long. So he's exaggerating and sarcastically writing that English poetry has one line 1 inch long, another line 600 inches long. So there is no rationality in proportion. Sanskrit is not like that. There are strict principles. That's why the course I titled as Scientific Art. There are strict principles, and it is so beautiful. See, in this line, the title of the course gets covered, written by Srila Prabhupada. Where is that? Yeah. There are strict principles. That means it's a science, and it is so beautiful. So that it is an art also. There are principles also, and it is beautiful also. So it is scientific art. Therefore, in Sanskrit language, not an ordinary man can become a poet. No other language of the world can be compared with it. No other language of the world is so perfect as Sanskrit. Any language near to Sanskrit language, like Prabhupada gives example of Bengali, Bangla, and all other Indic languages, Gujarati, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and all other, everything, Odia. So these are nearer to perfection. They are nearer to Sanskrit because they have come from Sanskrit directly. So they are nearer to perfection. But Sanskrit is most perfect, Prabhupada has written. Sanskrit is pronounced same way here or there. It is standard. Letter to Madhusudan from Los Angeles. Prabhupada sent this letter on February 1st, 1968. Let us see another letter of Srila Prabhupada. Regarding Sanskrit class, it is very encouraging that Mr. Parikh is helping you in this connection. But the chief aim of learning Sanskrit would be how to pronounce the Sanskrit verses, especially in our published books. That should be the chief learning, right? Chief aim of the learning. Just like you have already chanted the Govinda verses in the record. hmm, Similarly, all the verses you have to chant combinedly and melodiously, along with musical instruments. And it will be a great charm to the people of the world. When we shall lead our world Sankirtan party, at that time, if we can demonstrate the chanting of the mantras as they are stated in Ishopanishad, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma Samhita, that will be our unique position. Therefore, the main aim of this Sanskrit class should be how you can learn this chanting in the proper accent. It is not our aim to become a Sanskrit scholar. Letter to Gurudas Prabhu, Los Angeles, April 16, 1970. So that is the time when they had gone to the Europe, and they met George Harrison. Then they released that Govinda album, Hare Krishna album. So that time Prabhupada is emphasizing the main aim of Sanskrit class should be how you can learn the chanting in proper accent. Mm. That's what exactly we are trying to learn. Śikṣā and chhanda, these two sciences. Another letter to Bala Mukundaji, April 17, 1970. I'm very glad to learn that you have begun to teach Sanskrit pronunciation to our students. Please see that they can pronounce very nicely the Sanskrit verses in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Ishopanishad, and Brahma Samhita, and teach them to chant conjointly as they chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In your class, the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra must be done in the beginning and at the end. That will keep the spirit of the temple. So Prabhupada is balancing learning science and also chanting in the beginning and at the end. So this is a letter written to Bal Mukundaji. Then this is the last letter, very important letter written to Pradyumna Prabhu. So this is a long letter. So we'll read through it. Many nice instructions are there in this. So there are 2-3 slides for this. So my dear Pradyumna, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated 31st March 1970, and in the meantime I have received one small tape record. Your teaching of Sanskrit pronunciation has been very much successful. I was just thinking of teaching our students the pronunciation of the Sanskrit verses. Prabhupada was himself thinking of teaching in the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. And by Krishna's will, you have already begun this. Prabhupada was willing to start, but Pradyumna Prabhu has also already started. It will be a great help for me if the students are taught to pronounce in Sanskrit vibration. It will be another effect of transcendental sound vibration. But we should always remember that our aim is spiritual realization. So in such classes, in the beginning there must be kirtan, and at the end also there must be kirtan. And they should not only pronounce the verses, but they should also understand the meaning and purport of each verse. Then it will be grand success. So we are also going to discuss the meanings of the verses. And about the kirtan part, when we are having live class, so this first part, somehow the recording could not happen in the live class, so I am recording it again as a reference. And the further classes we have, we in the live class we have chanted together. In the beginning we have done kirtan, at the end we have done kirtan. So that's what's the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, and we are following it. So we are keeping it spiritualized, not just some dry learning of some, because this knowledge of this science, the field of science is many people in the outside world who do not have exact devotion, or they are using these sciences for mundane things also. There are many Bollywood songs which are based on the ragas of the traditional, what you call it, traditional, Shastriya Sangeet and all those things. There are many songs which are mundane, which have nothing to do with spiritual teachings. They have taken many meters and composed some mundane songs there. But we are not here to learn these things for mundane things. We are here to learn these skills and sciences for advancing in our bhakti, advancing in our spiritual life, and learning scriptures in a better way. Yeah. So they should also understand the meaning Prabhupada is writing and purport of each verse, then it will be grand success. So far grammar is concerned, one has to learn Sanskrit grammar for at least 12 years. Then he becomes an expert grammarian. In India, those who are Sanskrit scholars studied in the beginning from 5 to 15 years. That is for 10 years continually. And then they study grammar thoroughly. So all of us who are joining this course, we all have already crossed that age. So we don't have capacity and patience and time to learn so deep things. Very few will be there who are very much interested and have that skill set also, and have that talent and that aspect of intelligence active. They can go and venture with blessings of seniors, but not everyone can do this. When one is expert in grammatical rulings and formation, that is to say, shabda, dhatu, sandhi, samas, prakaran, vidhan, pratyay, adhikaran. These are all terms in Sanskrit Vyakaran. After this, they study Nyaya, logic. In this way, when one is expert in 10 to 12 years, that is by the age of 17th year, a student becomes very much expert, and any departmental knowledge he can master in 1 to 2 years. But you need not become such a scholar. That is not expected. You require simply to understand Shastras, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc., and chant Hare Krishna mantra as much as possible. The thing is, if you give more stress on scholarly line, other devotees will try to imitate you. Already your wife has expressed such intention. He is writing to Pradyumna Guru. And as soon as we try to be scholars, our devotional line will be slackened. These points are to be kept in view always. So this is not expected generally from everyone to get deep into the Vyakaran and learn. It's not. It's very tough also, and we don't have so much time, energy. We already crossed that age. I think in the very near future, you will be required to move from center to center to teach this verse vibration. So, in each center, by hearing your tapes and by your personal presence, they will become very expert in pronouncing the Sanskrit verses. Letter to Pradyumna, Los Angeles, April 5, 1970. So, we are also trying to follow in the footsteps and trying to learn these things through these courses. So, we can see from these quotes that Srila Prabhupada wanted that the devotees learn proper chanting, proper pronunciation, and recite the verses in a sweet melodies. So that's what we saw just now.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna.